Are you tired of feeling the pinch every time you open your wallet? Groceries are up by 20%, gas prices are soaring 22%, and even staying home costs you an arm and a leg, with electricity bills surging by 21%. But wait, why is it that inflation just won't quit, no matter how hard we try? Join us on a journey into the wild world of inflation, where prices seem to have a mind of their own, and discover why it's so darn challenging to make it disappear. Now, picture this. Everyone wants to stop prices from going up all the time. That's the number one goal of the people who control our money, like the big banks and stuff. They're trying to do this not just in the US but worldwide. Inflation is when prices suddenly shoot up and it feels like you have less money to buy the things you need. It's like a big surprise that hits your wallet. When all this inflation started, the folks in charge, like the Federal Reserve, call it transitory. They thought it was just a temporary problem caused by the pandemic and it would go away on its own. But guess what? It stuck around. Now, the Federal Reserve is doing its best to fight this price hike by doing something called interest rate hikes. Basically, they make it more expensive to borrow money. It's like a tool they use, and it's pretty good at slowing down inflation. But here's the tricky part. It's not an exact science. Different parts of the economy react differently to these changes in interest rates. It's like trying to cook a meal with a recipe, but sometimes it doesn't turn out exactly the way you planned. You know, there's something about inflation that most people don't realize. It can actually help some folks while hurting others. Yep, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some folks find it tough to deal with, while others see opportunities. But why does inflation stick around, and who's benefiting from it? Well, inflation is just a fancy way of saying prices are going up, and prices can go up for different reasons. Sometimes there's too much money floating around, or there aren't enough things to buy. Other times it's because it costs more for businesses to run, so they charge more of their stuff. All of these has been happening a lot over the past few years. Prices have been going up like crazy. Now, when it comes to setting prices, it's no walk in the park for businesses. Have you ever noticed how the price of gas changes every time you go to the pump? Some things change prices all the time, like gas, while others, like college tuition or rent, don't change as often. And for us shoppers, it can be frustrating when you put something in your cart, and the next day, it's suddenly more expensive. Businesses often try to keep their prices steady for a while to avoid these headaches. Okay, here's a kind of funny thing about inflation. It's driven by what we expect to happen. If we think prices will go up in the future, guess what? They probably will. For example, if we believe inflation will stick around for a while, businesses might hike their prices because they don't change them every day. It's like they're planning for higher prices. Now, when people expect prices to keep rising, it affects how they behave. They might say, "I'm paying more for stuff, so I need more money." And then business owners think, "My workers will want raises because everything's more expensive, so I'll raise prices to cover that." It's like a never-ending loop, and economists call it a wage price spiral. Prices go up, wages follow, and prices go up again. It's like a merry-go-round of inflation. But here's the twist. Inflation can also be driven by a hot job market, where lots of people are working. Workers have been getting paid more since 2021, and there have been plenty of job openings with low unemployment. But here's the tricky part. Now, it seems like wage growth is slowing down, and we're seeing more layoffs in different industries. So, it's not just about stuff getting stuck in supply chains. It's really about how much we get paid. People worry about inflation because it's linked to low unemployment. When jobs are easy to find, workers can look for better paying ones. To keep them, businesses might raise their base salaries. But here's the thing. If they overpay, they might need to cut jobs, which isn't good. Now, this situation poses a challenge for businesses. They have to stay profitable while paying higher wages. But for workers getting those better paychecks, it's a win. Normally, during inflation, wages don't keep up and things get more expensive. But right now, it's different. The main reason for inflation seems to be higher labor costs, meaning workers are benefiting. Balancing inflation isn't about stopping prices from rising completely. The government thinks a little inflation, around 2%, is a sign of a healthy economy. Without it, things can get sluggish. The goal is to keep price changes small over time so we don't stress about money when we spend, invest, or hire. To do this, the government uses monetary policy, like raising interest rates. This makes it more expensive to borrow money, and it slows down spending. But it can also lead to problems. It might weaken the job market, slow down spending, and even cause a recession. It's a tough call for policymakers because they risk a recession to control inflation. But history tells us that low and stable inflation is usually best for the economy in the long run. Sometimes, we have to take a risk and face a recession to keep inflation low and steady. It might seem strange, but it's like that saying, you need to spend money to make money. In a way, it's up to us, the consumers, to help solve the problem. We can do it by not buying things when prices get too high. We might decide no more buying expensive cars. They cost too much. Instead, we might go for cheaper options, and that can help bring prices down. And when goods don't sell well, businesses might lower their prices. About a year has passed since the government started raising interest rates in March 2022. They did this because they thought it would slow down the economy a bit, and it seems to be happening. However, prices are still higher than the government wants them to be. They use something called the PCE price index to measure inflation, and it hit a high of 30% in April 2021. But by March 2023, it had gone down to about 6%. So, we're getting a closer to normal inflation levels, which is a good sign. People still have money to spend, and if you've tried booking a restaurant or a vacation, you've probably seen that folks are out there spending. That, though, can add to inflation. You know, there are things happening worldwide that affect inflation in the US. We buy stuff from other countries, and if the prices there go up, it can make the stuff we import more expensive. Now, here's the big question. Will this high inflation stick around, or is it just a phase? Well, we're not entirely sure yet. Some folks in the markets think we'll get back to a 2% inflation rate by late 2023 or early 2024. Others, like the Fed, say it might take until 2025. It's a bit of a gamble, and yes, there's a chance of a recession along the way, but it might not be as bad as usual. The ultimate goal is for you and me to not even have to talk about inflation. How will we know we've won when we're all talking about something else? We've explored the challenges and complexities of inflation, but we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on inflation? Do you have any ideas on how we can better manage it? Join the conversation in the comments below and share your insights. Together, we can work towards a future where inflation becomes a distant memory. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.